All right, let's go. All right, comeback champions, here we go. I'm Shifa Ali, and I am here to be your guide on the pathway to the dimensions, yes, dimensions to a successful comeback. All right, now we know we are comeback champions, right? That's who we are. And what I know about you is that the key to your comeback is inside of you. Okay. Now, what is a comeback? I'm going to give you the 13. Yeah, 13. I know it sounds like a lot. We're not going to get through all that today. What we are going to do today, you're going to be sure that you have a map and somebody who can guide you along the way. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Okay. So I'm going to grab my trusty phone. You know, we don't do anything without our phones these days. And we're going to talk about this dimension, okay, of a successful comeback. I already know you have your pen and your pad and you're ready to take copious notes, all right? I am 65 years old, in case anybody wanted to know, and I've been on the path for a minute. So it's important that I tell you that, because if you're going to have a guide, you have to know that the person that is talking to you kind of like knows the terrain. It's if you have back in the day, they had like Indian guides, right? And the Indian guide knew all the footprints of the predators and the animals, and could listen to the birds, right? And knew everything, right? Could tell what the weather was going to be, okay? I'm that person. I'm that person for you. Let's dig in. Let's dig in. We're talking about dimensions of a successful comeback. Now, I already mentioned that you are holding the key. You're holding the key. You may not know you're holding the key, and it may not seem like you're holding the key, and your conditions and your circumstances and all the things that's going on that make it that you need a comeback may not be pointing to you to tell you that you have the key. But I'm here to tell you. So here's what I know about you, is that within your consciousness, within all of our consciousness, okay, within all of our consciousness is the inner champion that is holding the secret key. Now, why is it a secret? Well, if it wasn't a secret, you would already know, right? But it is a secret key. And what does that secret key do? Well, the champion is the keeper of the secret key that opens the way to the path. That opens the way to the path. So what I've just done is tell you that you hold the key, and that it is a secret key, and your inner self, your consciousness, is opening the way, right? Which is a pathway, right? Because you got to get to the place where you actually use this key, and you're knowing, you're being conscious now of that. All right. So we're already getting some success here because you're already conscious of that now. Now we go on the pathway. Now we start to actually do the work, right? Because you knew there was some work involved, right? Of course. What is the work? Well, we've got to get through the veil. Well, what's the veil, Shifa? Well, the veil is whatever that curtain was that dropped over you and caused you to step back. Now that you are in the position that you need a comeback, a come up, okay? There was a veil dropped there. We got to get through that veil. And we have to become conscious of what that veil is and coherent enough to see it, right? Because it tends to be kind of glary and smoky and blurry, and we don't really even know that the veil exists. But I'm here to tell you that there's a veil. Now, if you just take a moment and think about that, you would say, oh yeah, there must be something holding me back. It's not a wall. Let me tell you that. It's not a wall. It's not so thick and dense that you can't get through it. As a matter of fact, your inner champion that has the secret key that is going to be used when we get through the path, right? As we walk on this pathway, already knows that it's just a slight film and we can just walk right through it. All right. So I want to assure you that even though it's work, it's about being conscious and coherent about what's around you, right? Consistently, and it's going to take some intensity. So let's keep moving through the path. Now, the champion that is within you, that you are, comeback champion, that is within you knows no limit. None. Period. No limit. Okay? Well, what does that mean? That means that you're limitless, you're boundless. And for some reason, when that veil dropped, you forgot that. It's like a memory virus or something, and you forgot who you are, right? And I'm here to remind you and guide you along this path, all right? So now that we are aware of our unlimitless self, right, that is really inside, let's talk about what the path really is. What is this path? Well, it starts with your vocabulary. So I know you're thinking about like path with trees and birds and tweet, 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 and we're walking through, right? And that's a great image to have, but this is an internal process, right? So it first starts with your vocabulary. What is the vocabulary of a champion, especially a comeback champion? What's our vocabulary? What's our vocabulary? It's simple. It's one word, right? It's dealing with one word. Our vocabulary eliminates the word can't. Now, I know we tell little children that all the time, we don't use the word can't, but it is important, imperative that we are conscious and coherent every time an idea that even seems like it's going to put a limitation on us, i.e. can't, right? Anything that does that, we got to be conscious of that and push through the veil. Push through the veil. All right. That's part of it. All right. So that is one instance. Now, I said that this is the dimensions of the comeback champion, right? So, well, what are dimensions? Well, there are things that are happening that are present that you're not necessarily aware of, right? So we know about 3D and 4D, right? And well, we know 2D, 3D, 4D, 5D of the heart, right? And so I'm going to talk to you about it in terms of your life. All of your life is different dimensions in 13 dimensions. I'm not going to go through all 13, but the first one is a natural mind. And in the championship vocabulary of your natural mind, the word can't does not exist. Does not exist. All right? So, that was a big chunk right there, but you got it. I already know you got it because you're a champion, right? You already know you got it because you're a champion. So since these dimensions, and we have this natural mind, and then we have what's number 2, the spirituality. And I'm not going through all 13, but I'm on a guide. I'm guiding you on this path right here, right? And so your inner champion is your mighty presence. Right? Your mighty I am a comeback champion presence. Okay? That lives within you. And that is a spiritual concept. Right? It's the inner realm. It's the inner realm. So I know y'all tracking with me. I know you're tracking with me. And I hope you're taking notes, right? So what's the next thing? Well, we have the inclination on this path. We have the inclination to begin to recognize, because we're conscious now, we're coherent, we begin to recognize that there are things that want to continue to hold us back. So let me tell you a little story about me and what makes me a comeback champion, okay? A successful comeback champion. The short story, had left my family. I was in New Jersey, left my family, went to live in New York. That's a whole nother story about how all that happened, when divorce and children and all those kinds of things, those become what we call like the setbacks, right? That's the drawbacks that makes a comeback necessary, all right? So here I am now, and I grew up like upper middle class, white picket fence. We all had a really nice neighborhood and all that kind of stuff, right? Never knew poverty in my life. When I left and moved to New York, I moved to the boogie down Bronx, okay? For Apache, by the way, okay? So what happened? I started to face all these things in the jungle, right? Right? I'm in the concrete jungle now, right? And I had left the family and the lifestyle that I needed, found myself one day, fast forward, found myself one day crouched down behind the chair, trying to talk myself out of, and I'm glad I was successful, talk myself out of jumping out of the 21st floor window of this apartment building that I lived in because I was so depressed.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream.
Found myself one day, fast forward, found myself one day crouched down behind the chair, trying to talk myself out of, and I'm glad I was successful, talk myself out of jumping out of the 21st floor window of this apartment building that I lived in because I was so depressed. I was so depressed. So that's a long way to come back from. There's a pathway. There's a key that you have inside of you that as we're having this conversation is right now in your hands. Right now in your hands. So let's talk about how it is. How did I get from there? Now, that might not be your experience, but you have an experience. Or you wouldn't be in need of a comeback. Come on, y'all. You wouldn't be in need of a comeback if you didn't have an experience that you had to come back from. So just think about your life. What is it? Become conscious. Let it become coherent because it's part of that veil. It's part of that veil, right? And as you become conscious and coherent, now this sense of intensity kicks in, right? Because that's intense, right? I was standing at the window, big window, right? 21 stories down, wanting to do that, some part of me that was not my champion, okay? Where in your life do you have a situation where you just wanted to like throw in the towel, right? Just quit. Just quit. When in your life were you saddled with worry and doubt, okay, and fear? Well, let me tell you right now that comeback champions, successful comeback champions, are not warriors. We are warriors. Okay? We warriors. All right? We are warriors. We are not warriors. Okay? So again, here we go with that consciousness. We got to keep it coherent, right? Coherent. If you're not sure what that word means, I challenge you to look it up. Coherent. Conscious, coherent, and then consistent. Consistent with what? Consistent with making sure you're moving in your limitlessness, right? No such thing as the word can't in our vocabulary. Making sure that you're not worried about stuff because we're not warriors, we are warriors. And also being clear that as you get rid of this memory virus that is clamping you down inside and not allowing your champion to emerge, Okay? Keep in mind that we're not having that no more. It's really quite that simple. We just ain't having it no more. Done. All right? So, how do we use the key? Once we have, now we on the path, right? That's the path, right? Going through all that stuff and the memory virus and remembering who it is that we are. And also, let me tell you something about your memory. You tend to always remember the bad stuff. I challenge you to make a list of all the good, amazing, powerful, gracious, bodacious stuff that ever happened to you in your life, okay? That make you smile, give you joy. Because here's what happens on the path. We have a tendency to swing, we either got great joy or we got great depression. We got great joy or we got great depression, okay? You feel that? We got great joy or we got great depression, all right? So we got to get to the middle way. The path is the middle pathway. That in every dimension of your life, you get to be on the path in the middle. So it's not anything that can happen that gets you so overjoyed that when it don't go like you thought it was going to go, that it brings you all the way down to no joy. Okay? To depression. Okay? To want to take my life. To all of that. It's like a pendulum on the inside, right? It's the inner job, right? We're talking about the power of your inner champion, okay? So it's like a clock or a pendulum, and it's the middle path. That's the pathway I'm taking you down. That is the pathway that we're going. Now, what's on the pathway? The key. You got the secret key now, okay? As you continue to work with me, you will have that key, and I will help you get to that place where we not only have the key in your hand, right? And I'm standing right there and you got the key in your hand. I'm here to help. And all you're going to do is you're going to put that secret key in the lock, and we're going to hear, when you turn it, we're going to hear the bolt go back. Right? Yeah, you're going to hear it. And there's a feeling that goes with that because your inner champion, your comeback champion, is just waiting there for you. Okay? To acknowledge, to become conscious, to become coherent, and then to consistently push that door open. And if you need some help pushing that door open, and you probably will, because I needed some help pushing my doors open, I'm here to help you do that. I'm the guide. I'm the one on the path. Okay? With you. Together we do this. And we push through. We push through. And we get to those 13 dimensions, which include the parenting, which include the family, which include the loving relationships, right? We talked about the natural mind and your spirit being, your health and your fitness. And the one that everybody in this day and time is dealing with is really two. You have conversations with people, they either sick or they broke, or they broke or they sick. Okay? Or they scared to be sick because we got this, right? With the mask thing, right? So we scared to be sick. They scared to be sick. And they scared to go broke. 95% of the people are more afraid of growing old and running out of money than they are dying. That's huge. So now with this key, we get past all of that. We get past all of that. And so what do we do now that we have the key? You hold the key. You hold the key. So you turn the key, we could feel it when the bolt turned back. We could hear it go click. All right? The door, we push the door open. And what happened next is that your inner champion, your comeback champion, is right there within you. And you take your stand as the warrior in your life in all 13 dimensions. And so I help you now get through those 13 dimensions with intensity. That's my calling. I'm here as a guide to help, to lead, to guide, to teach us how to get through this maze, this pathway, okay, that tends to make us want to sway. We don't know, like, right? We lukewarm. No, 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 no. As a comeback champion, you already know you got this. What is it? Is it your business? Is it your children? Is it your family? Is it your relationships? Is it your character reflection? Is it your finances? Right? And so when we're dealing with your health and your finances, right, those two conversations, one of the first things I start with, where most people find themselves, is they need some healthy finances. They need some healthy finances. So we start there if that's where you need to start. And I already know everybody ain't broke, okay? But what I do know, having been a financial professional for over 20 years, is that people are living right up to their level of income. And no matter how big the check is, many people still living check to check. And in these times, it's worse than that. Millions of people unemployed. So I'm the guide. I'm the one. Let me help you get through. Here's how you get in contact with me. You text Comeback Champion, country code +1 614 610 1122. Now, for those of you that want the free gift, text Comeback Champion to +1 614 610 1122. My email is SHIFA, SHIFA.oneness@gmail.com. I love you. Peace and love.
If it had not been for the Negro League, you wouldn't have had as many black baseball players as you have now.
There's a new home run champion of all time, and it's Henry Aaron.
I've been fortunate and lucky in some ways. I would just like to be remembered as someone that said God gave him a talent to play this game, and he did everything humanly possible to make the game the way it's supposed to be played.